talk about herbs. So as you can see, I thank everybody for coming. Gardens, gardens, gardens. The gardens where from when things began, people always had their gardens. It did not matter because they grew what they wanted to eat, but at the same time, they needed the seeds. And they wanted, you could go, if you go someplace different, what happens? You want the flavor and the taste of where you came from. And so that is why the Herb Bunch, and I will have the president and the chairperson to please come forward, and also Liz Sellers. So it's Liz Sellers and Tiffany Sowards. And and my name is Pamela Sultan. We're going to take you on a trip of how herbs began and what they mean and why they're so important. Mine will be on Africans and African Americans, but we all kind of dabble on the same thing. So let me tell you a little bit about who's standing before you. First, our chairman, it is Tiffany Sowards, owner of the real estate and staging company, is the Herb Bunch president for 2026. She loves, we are herbalists, and she loves that since a child. Most of us, I think all of us, we're rooted in it. And tell me the Indian, is it Shawnee?
Shawnee Indians were from the Cherokee. My grandfather was a full-blooded Shawnee Indian in West Virginia, so the Appalachian Indians. And when I was little, I got to hang out with him a lot and learn so many things. And I'll tell you a little funny thing about that is when you're a kid, he's like the most amazing storyteller. And as you get older, you're like, Then you're as an adult, you're like, he's just telling tales. My grandfather passed away, and someone sent me the Farmer's Almanac. I'm sure everybody knows the Farmer's Almanac. And I started getting their junk emails. And then almost every week, it would be a story that my grandfather had told me in Farmer's Almanac. And I was just like, he's laughing from above.
The other presenter will be Liz Sellers, an active duty military nurse medic. She got into what we call herbalism, is to help her father's health years ago. And he was raised by a full-blooded tell me again? Comanche. There it is, Comanche. And so just think, we started this because our families had it ingrained in us. My grandmother, who was I am a birth and postpartum doula at Lexington Medical, but my grandmother and her family went all in the Low Country, which is Gruellyville, going toward Charleston, and I went around with her. And as she went around, she used those herbs, she used the different things, and so I always thought, I said, when she put the garlic around your neck and packed you with all kinds of things, and I kept saying, is that really, is that really working? But we questioned nothing. So if they gave you something, you took it, and you just smiled, but it worked every time. So all of us have that background of not just, you're herbalists now, but it was something that was ingrained in us. And so now we're trying to pass that on to the other individuals in our lives, and we're trying to pass it on to the new generation, because so many of them don't garden. I know that I do a nonprofit organization, and we went to the schools in this district, and all it was carrots and 6 different varieties of lettuce and radishes. The one question that I asked them was, where does lettuce come from? Where do carrots come from? Where do relishes come from? Because they don't know the relish is red. They just know it's cut up and it's all. And everyone raised their hand. The grocery store, McDonald's. So at the garden that is 20 years old, we actually, we do it where they plant. And when they plant, and it's right in this district, they'll plant a plant. We water it, and then we have a salad party. Wonderful. One little boy said, you know what? Because I made that, I'm going to eat it. And he's been eating salad ever since. So that's kindergartners and 5th graders. So this is of interest, but this is really something that everybody knows a little bit about, but you just didn't really know. thank you for coming. We'll start off with,
Yeah, I have a handout real fast for everybody. We're gonna be talking about the history of herbs. And so it's a really fun topic about how herbs began. And we're gonna give you a great, there's 2 sets. There's one on the bottom there, I'll give you this. For the FedEx guy. Okay, well, I'm Tiffany Sowards, and I'm the Herb Bunch president for 2025-2026. Has anybody ever been to the Lexington County Museum to the Herb Festival in the spring? Yes, okay, well, that's us. So, the Herb Bunch got founded in 1997 by Beverly Cutley and Winnie Wingert. And Melinda Spencer. So since 1997, these ladies got together pretty much for culinary herbs, and then they went to North Carolina for some training, and then came back, and then they ended up getting affiliated with the Lexington County Family of Community Leaders. It's a mouthful, I know. And then they also got tied into Clemson Extension. So everything that the Herb Bunch does, the Clemson Extension reviews our stuff, gives us some stuff, we share our stuff with them. If you ever get a chance to come one of our meetings, they're the 3rd Tuesday of every month except June and December, and we meet at the Lakeside Middle School, and we would love to have you come and visit us anytime. Okay? All right, so we're going to kind of bring you back to when herbs began. So we did a little bit of research, so we're herbalists, and we know a little bit about herbs, and knew a little bit of these things, but until we did this presentation, it really knocked our socks off finding the history of it. So the history of herbs actually dates back thousands of years in ancient civilizations where they used plants for medicine and then, of course, culinary purposes. It was written in 1st century CE as one of the most, in the text, the history of medicine. They highlighted traditional uses tracing back to the evolution of herbal medicine. In ancient Egypt, so now we're around 1550 BCE, the Elber's Papyrus documented over 800 different formulas and prescriptions based on herbal remedies, including garlic, onions for their medicinal properties, Hippocrates, thank you. I do have that Appalachian blood, so I redneck any Latin words. It's just a thing that I do. It's my trademark. He was considered the father of medicine, and he also integrated the plant medicine theories into the Romans. So what we found out, and I gave you a really cool handout, is where you can see that the Egyptians used it in the pharmacies. And then the Elber's Papyrus, the History Channel did a big show on this, so you can look it up, it's really neat. And then we also did, of course, we got our Native American Indians. We got all that right there, and we're gonna pass around some of the mason jars and stuff. Could you start passing them around? We're gonna pass around some stuff for you to see, smell, and I don't know if you're gonna wanna taste some of them, so. Yeah, and then we broke down to the biblical herbs, because there's a lot on there, and even in Genesis, it says that God gave us the herbs and with seeds, anything with seeds, so that way we could grow. And then we want to talk about how all the different remedies, herbal remedies around the world, and we're getting ready to learn this one, the African, which is fantastic. We also put a little bit about that. And we also, I want to talk about America. I want to take you to America now. So in America, this year we're 250 years old, so it's really not that long. And in America, in the very beginning, unless you were full-blooded Native American Indian, everyone was an immigrant that came from a different country. And they all learned the herbs back then. That was their medicine. The Greeks had a way, the Africans had a way, the Celts had a way. All of them brought what they learned from generations to here. So we kind of researched about that. So what happened, we know as we settled here and went to different colonies in the United States was formed, and there was a lot of medicine, a lot of different people. So then we did a little bit of research. Then it comes, if you ever wonder, like, what happened to holistic medicine in America when everybody brought it here from different countries? So we're going to start, now we're going to fast forward you to the 1900s to where everything changed.
Well, if I can, I want to go back just a little bit, because there's three main people who drastically changed the herbalism world for us. The first one was Hippocrates. He basically said that all of the diseases and the different ailments came from within our body. It wasn't a punishment from the gods. And that was just huge at the time because the gods were everything. And he was jailed and everything went wrong and stuff. But he still created his books and he still got them out there and we use them today. The next person was Nicholas Culpeper, who was an English herbalist, botanist, pharmacist, physician, and astrologer. And he was in the 1500s, or 15th century. He created a book and he put all of his knowledge together in multiple books. The other physicians were like, no, that's not happening, and they tried to ban it because they wanted to keep the market for themselves and have everything strictly, I don't want to say regulated, but basically regulated, because any person can read a book and then go and treat themselves, and the physicians were no longer needed. And then it was taken a step further in the 1900s when we get to Rockefeller. And I don't know if y'all know him probably from the oil that he was really famous for. Well, he also, around this time, Germans were doing different experiments on petroleum-based products with the body and what it does to the body and how it affects the body and all that kind of stuff. So he took it a step further because he had excess petroleum byproducts. So he turned them into medicine. And he created allopathic medicine by using petrochemicals. And you can't optimize plants like you can the synthetic versions of something. And you can't patent it, you can't hold a monopoly on it, you can't put a price on it because anybody can grow it. So he and Abraham Flexnor discredited the whole society on herbs and the pathic medications that we had been doing since the Homo sapiens. And then that was in 1910, and the Council of Medical Education and the American Medical Association was created. So he jumped on board with that, changed everything, no longer having herbalism, now everything is pharmacy-based. And then he created the American Cancer Society, where it made it illegal for you to treat any kind of cancer with herbs. You had to use chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. And then he tried to do this in China, but it wasn't really effective, and so he kind of just started to go around the world, but that's about the same time World War I happened, and he came back and got on board with Andrew Carnegie. I don't know how many of y'all recognize that name, and paid for all of the schools to change and mandated that all the schools had to change from homeopathic medication to allopathic, and Congress passed the law, and that was that. Now we have pretty much discounted everything. They did smear reports, they changed it all and called it pseudoscience, and just, I mean, basically destroyed all of the old wives' tales and stuff. And back in the 70s, 60s and 70s, people started coming around and using plants again, and now we're trying to rebuild and scientifically prove. That's kind of put on everything, is you have to scientifically prove that this is that and that is this, and then we can start to use it again.
So now, 2026, there's a lot of people that we get calls all the time. Not just for medicinal, and we're not doctors or anything, and you can consult your physician if you want to take any herbs medicinally. But right now there seems to be, it's really popular right now, a lot of people are turning to natural things again. And I'm sure all of us, I mean, it's even in the grocery store, echinacea tea, and there's just so many things right now that you can get. And we encourage you, because times are changing, to come back to this, to what your ancestors used try it. And then on that, we want to give you a little bit of hope, and we believe that, you know, we're herbalists, and we believe that everyone should have a couple of plants in their garden that are very easy. And so we want to encourage you thyme. Everyone knows what thyme is. I'm sure everyone's tasted that. They're Italian herbs. Thyme is very inexpensive. You plant it one time. It's drought tolerant here in South Carolina. And also, if you put it near strawberries, the bugs won't go past the thyme. It's like a force field on that. They won't go by it. The echinacea, I know everyone kind of knows echinacea. They've got teas, cough drops. I mean, there's all sorts of things with echinacea. Very easy to grow. It's a beautiful flower. And on top of this, I also want to say something about this, about some of these medicinal herbs in your garden. They're also great for pollinating. So they're also bringing the bees in, which will also help fertilize your garden. It helps the environment. So those are some also wonderful things. But these are very, very inexpensive things that come back every year that you could use in food, you could use as medicine. We believe food is medicine. And so we would love to see you try to do that. And you can go on our web, or on the Facebook page, we've got the Herb Bunch. We have 2 Facebook pages, and sometimes we put tips on there, but if you need anything, email, call, come to a meeting or whatever, if you want to learn or have any questions, you know, definitely let us know. But we really, really want to encourage all of you all to go back to your ancestors, you know, your heritage, that whatever your family was when they came to America, and try it, you know, try it. And then of course consult your physician, because there are some herbs that you can't take, like if you're on blood thinners, or you can't, you know. But we do have this thing called Google, and it's, you know, 80% right, I guess. So, does anybody have any questions real fast? No?
So you guys, you're like with the plants that you get, how is that relationship created? I mean, is it like your members bring in plants and herbs and things like that?
Great question. So what we do is in our monthly meetings, we talk about one herb, and then someone does a program on something, which it could be like using certain things to make hair stuff with, or how Liz and I did a seminar on herbs to plant in your garden to deter mosquitoes and pests. So we have a different topic every month. And we do have, right now when I'm president, we do have a plant and seed exchange, to where all the members bring in something, and we, you know, trade plants, kind of like a cookie swap, but we do herbs and seeds. So.
Just one more follow-up question, because it's fascinating that, you know, the legislation that was passed by, you know, our United States.
The past,
yeah,
yes.
The past. So has some of that been overturned, or is it still in place, or?
Unfortunately, I mean, it appears like Liz and I found some things. We gave you the G version of things, you know, because we don't want to try, you know, we don't want to offend anyone. It was pretty bad. They did smear campaign. There's even pictures of articles that they did about like snake medicine and, you know, things like that. And then of course women and minorities, you know, back then with medical schools, that probably brought a lot that could have helped. You know, they got rid of them first. So it doesn't seem like there is a lot right now. We are seeing more holistic, like even here in Columbia, you know, we're seeing a lot more natural path doctors. You got like Garner's, 14 karat, you're seeing grocery stores. I mean, it's really grown, it's really big right now. There's classes online, there's YouTube videos, there's so much knowledge out there right now. And there are some physicians that will say, hey, why don't you go home and get some echinacea tea, or you have the stomach virus, go get some ginger tea. I mean, it's just basic things, but we're getting there. But it seems like, you know, the FDA approval and things like that, it also depends on money and research. But there is scientific research about a lot of these herbs and that they do work. And in other countries, you know, they use them. And I think, my personal opinion, which doesn't matter, I think we need both. I think we need man-made medicine and we need nature medicine. I think we need both. I think we've helped people and probably hurt people, probably in both, but it's your body, your life, you know, and I think, you know, we just want to bring back what was already here. It's right here in front of you, and it's very inexpensive and very easy to have. So, and yeah, we can't, when the medical stuff does come up, we really think that the herbalism and the naturopath medicines in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be everywhere. So we'll hope it changes. So if you do get the vote on that, see our herbalist faces. Go team, right?
Yeah, because if more people did herbs and took care of themselves on the minor things that they have, then you wouldn't have as many people sitting in the hospitals, and it wouldn't be as crowded, and the doctors could give you more time for the things that they do need you for. And there's a lot of things that an herb can fix. Not just the herbs, but also your diet, your exercise, your sleep. If you combine those together, you'd cut out at least 3/4 of the doctor's visits that I've been reading about online, the things that people go to doctors for. You wouldn't have to, because you'd be taking care of yourself at home. And then you also wouldn't get the sickness that you get when you go to the hospital because it's so crowded. But if we can get more people to use herbs and try the little things first, we'll have less crowds.
You already eat them, and they help the environment also. So we're just trying to encourage. We're on like a grassroots campaign here to grow some herbs in your garden, and just step your little toe into the water. And you got a sore throat, use some thyme, boil, make a tea, echinacea tea. So just try it. So, and again, we're not doctors. We love our doctors. We love that. So, we're not stepping on their toes. But yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering what your favorite herb is.
Rosemary. The reason why it's like an evergreen. It's there at Christmas time. It's all year round. I cut it and put it in. So like, if I cook in the morning, if I make bacon or something that smells, I have a simmer pot and I just put rosemary. I just cut it and put it in there, and my whole house will smell. I mean, like it could be 2,500 square feet and it'll smell so good. It's antibacterial. It doesn't bother my pets, my husband who has allergies. I love rosemary.
It's really good for your brain too. It helps neurological connections as well as rebuilding from damage.
Even the smell of it.
And it's calming. And it's great for your hair, it's great for your skin.
Yep.
It can be used in a lot of different products.
And
So for brain health, is that a tea then, like a rosemary tea, or?
It can be a tea, or you can
essential
eat it.
oil tincture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take the rosemary, the actual rosemary, dry it, and I combine it with blueberries, lemon, and honey, and I just eat a spoonful every day. And it's because the three combos, the way that one gets into the body, then the other one helps to cross through the blood, and then the next one helps cross through the brain, and so they all kind of tie together. And then just because I like honey.
And I'll be your, I use rosemary on my hair. I still have my 80s hair, so I use rosemary oil on my hair. So
What about like oregano?
we love it. And I'm all for the Italian herbs. So that one I typically eat, but I also do grow it. It's beautiful.
You make a tea out of it, I think somebody's.
No, I haven't ever had
There's-
a regular tea.
For people who have different ailments, what's the main one? Yeah, it's stomach pains. It helps with stomach pains. But if you have the fever blisters, having the rosemary oil, or doing the rosemary tea, lots and lots of, oregano tea, it helps to counteract a lot of that anti-inflammatory mess going on in your system. It's good for that.
Yeah, and a lot of us at the Herb Bunch too, we go to North Carolina every summer to Vallecruces. It's the North Carolina Herb Association, and they do training up there for it's a 3-day event. We a lot of times stay on site and learn. They have speakers from all around the United States and some around the world that come, and there's classes all day from all different people, all different topics. So we do, not only do we educate at our meetings, but we do that. And then some of us, at the Herb Bunch, we're made up of some who just grow herbs for culinary because they love food. And we got some that like the medicine of it, and we got some that just want to grow it because they think it's pretty, and they just want it in the garden. So we're just made up of everybody, and that's what we need. We need everybody. We don't need everybody to think the same way. We need everybody to share, with us.
Variety.
So